Mark, thanks for your time as ever. Championship opposition coming into town, but going into it full of confidence after the weekend.
Yeah, we're really pleased with what we produced at the weekend, winning result as well to go with a good performance. So, yeah, we're in good hearts. Spirits were high today, as you would imagine. We're looking forward to the game. Obviously, it's a game we can have a real go at, and yeah, we'll see where that takes us.
Given the previous two away games, does it feel with the Hartlepool result a little weight off the shoulders, given the manner of the result?
I don't know if there was any weight on us. I think there was a determination in our performance. We didn't get what we deserved against Colchester, clearly, and got done by a late episode, and didn't have enough time to address the balance. So we had more determination and a little bit of frustration along with that, because we felt clearly we didn't get what we deserved against Colchester, but we addressed that obviously at the weekend. Good performance, both individually and collectively, and scored good goals as well at good times for us, and won the game quite comfortably.
Yeah, on those goals, Scott Banks getting his first of hopefully many for the club. What did you make of that finish into his performance?
Yeah, great finish. He had a similar chance against Colchester as well, so I think that was just a sighter for him. So it did help. We talked after the Colchester game about making sure that we get people ahead of the ball on occasions, because that can disrupt oppositions. And I think just the distraction of Chappie just going and making a really strong run on the outside of Banksy just obviously distracted the guy, and he allowed obviously Banksy to go on his favourite foot. So we need those runs, those selfish runs, when you know the likelihood is that you're not going to actually get the ball, but you still make a really hard run that hurts you to affect the opposition, so that your teammate can get in.
And I guess with all the fixtures coming, it's still just trying out that system, and all the players getting used to it even more and singing off that same hymn sheet.
Yeah, I think we're in a good place. I said obviously at the beginning of the season we're a new group coming together. There's a lot of new faces, and not too many that were with us last year, but I think they've grasped a hell of a lot since they've come in, and that's the benefit of getting them in early. We knew that it was important to do that, and I think people can see that every game there's really strong elements to our play. Other areas that we'll continue to work on and get better, but they'll improve as the season progresses. We have no doubt about that. So the importance is that we keep on picking good performances and good results up.
And on Blackburn, do you have any fresh injury concerns, or is everyone all okay from the weekend?
Yeah, everybody who was available at the weekend is an option. No difference there. Probably Levi will be back in the fold. He's just had a new addition to his family, so he'll be in good heart. Missed training today, unfortunately, but he'll still be in the squad. And
Jamie Walker and Abo Issa, are we still on a similar time frame?
Yeah,
to those guys?
Still a while for them. Obviously, Jamie's going to be longer than Abo, but we see Abo out on the pitch every single day now, which is really encouraging for him and for us. So he'll be back sooner than the others.
On Blackburn, does it feel in the league you maybe look at being the favourites in most games? People come and think, we want to get one over Bradford City. You may be going into this game as underdogs. Does that change any of the preparation or the thinking at all?
No, we've got a healthy respect for Blackburn. Obviously had a really good start, just had a couple of stumbles since, but they're a very good team. We're not quite sure which way they go. They obviously made a lot of changes for the last game against Hartlepool and won it quite comfortably, so it's whether or not they stick with that squad of players that they used, and we'll have to adjust accordingly. Obviously we're not quite sure which way they'll go. We'll be as strong as we were against Hull. We're still early in the season. We're still trying to form those relationships that I talk about in the team, so it's another opportunity to do that. But obviously there's opportunities to freshen it up as well.
And I guess as well, like Hull, you do take that confidence. They're a side who probably will allow you a little bit more time on the ball, so the players can really play the game that they're trying to play.
Well, yeah, there won't be as many transitions. Clearly, when we go up against League Two opposition, sometimes it's a lot more direct. There's a lot of balls just helped on, and you're chasing lost causes, and you have to deal with them because teams play that way because it's effective. So you have to do that. But championship sides, higher league sides, usually want to get the ball, retain possession, and move the ball around. And we saw that against Hull. But that allows us time to get our shape as well, and make sure that we're ready to spring when we need to.
And on you personally, success at Blackburn as a player and as a manager, just your thoughts on them as a club in your time there?
I had a great time both as a player and as a manager. I was there for a couple of years as a player, and we got a promotion and we won a trophy. So yeah, it was a great time. Good group of lads as well. Really talented group I was fortunate to play with, and then when I went as a manager, straight away it was my first job in club football, and they embraced everything that I asked them to do, and we had 4 great years, a couple of cup semi-finals, FA Cup semi-finals, League Cup semi-finals. We qualified for Europe by virtue of our league position, 6th place in the Premier League, and we're never, apart from 1 year I think, out of the top 10. So yeah, I had a great time. Really good club. Obviously a lot of people I was working with then have left, unfortunately for the club in my view, but times change and there's different ownership now, so not too many people that were there when I was there, but there's still a few, and they've been in contact, so that's always nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, whether they've left or they are still there, the memories you've made, I'm sure you do keep up to date with them.
Yeah, it was a great time, really enjoyed it. It was a well-run club. It was a club that not too many years previous they'd won the Premier League, so a lot of their facilities and training ground were absolutely first class. So it was a real pleasure to go in and work as a player and as a manager. So we've got fond memories of Blackburn.
There's a few connections in the squad as well with Blackburn Rovers. What's it like from a player and a manager's point of view when you do come up against a former club? Because I know the fans and we like that narrative, don't we? But what's it like when you're actually in there?
I think there's a build-up, and I get questioned about it, and players will get questioned about it, but the reality is that you're still just preparing for a game that you want to win, so all the talk and the noise beforehand really is set aside once the game starts. So I don't think you're aware. I wasn't particularly aware when I was going up against former clubs. I just wanted to do well for the team I was currently playing for, and I think everybody's different. Everybody is affected in a different way in terms of their emotion when they face a former club. But I think it's basically a case of get on with your job, and everybody moves on very quickly in football. So it's important that you do as well.
And they've had a lot of change over summer. New manager coming in, different style of players being mooted around. What have you made to them so far? You mentioned they've stumbled the last couple of results, but a strong start to the season before.
Yeah, strong start, and that will have given the group real encouragement. Obviously, new manager coming in, so that confidence in terms of what the new structure is telling them. Obviously, that's important to hit the ground running. So. Yeah, a couple of setbacks, as I said, but they'll be looking to bounce back, I'm sure. They've got big games coming up, so we'll get an indication of how seriously they view the Carabao Cup in terms of their whole season. But I think it'll be a good game. Whatever side they play, they'll be accomplished footballers, and they played very well against League Two opposition last time out, so we've got to be ready for that. But we're looking forward to it. It's a game we can enjoy, and pressure to a certain extent is off us.
And with the club being in League Two and the next round around the corner with the so-called Big Six coming in for the fans, for you guys, for players, it is a big opportunity to get into that third round and really hopefully get a great draw.
Yeah, well I've said before, there's only so many competitions that you're entered for, and there's only so many that you can progress in, and we want to progress in each and every competition that we're in. So there's another opportunity to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper into the competition, and as you say, the deeper you go, the more chance you get to get a big club that draws a big attraction, and that's obviously from our point of view, it's important in terms of finance. So yeah, we want to progress. We want to go deep in the competition if we can.
Thanks for your time.
No problem.
Obviously, at League Two level, there's a lot of cup competition starting up. You've got a cup match this week, then one again next week, with a league game in between. Is that a hindrance, or can you see the positives in it as well?
At this early in the season, I think it's okay. I think it's about, we're trying to reap the benefits of getting some rhythm and an understanding of each other's games. So early in the season, I think it's good. Later on in the season, sometimes you may think, goodness me, you've had a hard league game, and then obviously you've got another round of the cup. But if you're mourning in the winter months, then that means you're progressing well in the cup competition. And you've heard me say already that I think good runs in cup competitions help league form anyway. So I'm not averse to it. Obviously, if there's a lot of travelling involved, that can impact on you. But from our point of view, and my point of view, I'd like to keep on progressing in this competition if we can. It's a good opportunity for us, and it could help our finances. Well, it will. Already has. So it's important that we continue to do that.
And as you just said, at Blackburn, you made the semi-finals of the League Cup. Have you personally, from your playing or management, got one standout memory from the competition?
Well, my last full 90 minutes as a professional footballer was the League Cup final, so at the Millennium Stadium. So that was the last time I played 90 minutes. So I've got quite good memories. We won, thankfully, and on the day I hadn't played for a number, I was probably about sixth choice to play in midfield that day, but we had loads of injuries, so I got the nod. So yeah, that was a good memory. Played well on the day, played a good Tottenham side who were the favourites on the day, and were able to beat them. So yeah, as a marker in my career, it's one that I remember.
Cheers.
So ask about that game, Mark. I mean, you say you there was injury, so you suddenly came into the side. When did you find out you were playing? Was it quite late?
I was just the week leading up to I think we had suspensions. We had clearly had injuries, so or I wouldn't have been that close to the first 11. But I think it was probably thinking back. They were scratching their heads somewhat. Graham Souness was wondering who to play in midfield, and I think Dean Saunders, obviously a fellow Welshman, he was on the staff at the time. He said, well, you should play Mark because that's where he plays for Wales, which I did. Not when I was 38, like, but so I had experience of being a midfield player and played at international level. So I knew what was required. It was just whether or not my legs could keep going, but it worked out okay. So I was thankful for Dino's input on that.
It must have been a great sort of bonus for yourself, so late in your playing career to suddenly play in a final and get a winner's medal in what turned out to be actually the final season for you. Yeah,
it wasn't expected. I had 2 years there and had a great first year promotion, and it was a good time. Good time as a good club, well-run club with good people, good football people around the place as well, and good young players coming through. The likes of Damien Duff was there at the time, and he went on to Chelsea a couple of years after and had a great career. So a lot of talent in the group. So I think that's what I was able to do later on in my career when I couldn't run too much. I made sure I had lots of good players around me who could run around a bit. So yeah, it was a good time, and I really enjoyed it.
Obviously, going into your first club management there, I mean, how much did you learn there? Because presumably you went in, obviously a great experienced player, but in terms of management, club management, very green, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I hadn't been in charge of a club, but I've been a Welsh team manager for 3 years, I think, when I actually got the job, maybe 4. So I'd actually built a philosophy. I knew what I wanted from my teams, and I think I was in a better place than maybe some players who've gone straight from playing into management, and it's a little bit of shock to the system, and a lot of them sink. That wasn't going to happen to me because I had a really clear idea of what I wanted, and I had that experience of international football as well, going up against really strong international teams with not quite the resources that these teams I was facing, and it was very much like the Premier League, really, going up against teams that were had the advantage of better resources and bigger squads, and you had to try and match yourself. So I'd had that benefit. So I wasn't as green as people made out, maybe.
And obviously going into this game, I mean, are you going to be wearing a tracksuit tomorrow night? Or is that just a one-off? Or?
Well, I think along with a great result and performance, the next thing everybody was asking me was why I didn't wear a suit. My wife thought I'd forgotten my shoes, so that was the first question she asked as I went through the door. But no, I just maybe it was the morning kickoff, well, early kickoff. I don't know really. It's the problem I've got now is to decide whether or not I continue with the tracksuit or get the suit back on.
Superstitious as a footballer? Because some are very superstitious.
Not to a great extent, I don't think, but still a big decision, and suit or no suit. We'll have to wait and see. Keep everybody on tenterhooks.
All the players be looking around the door, seeing what you're wearing.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. Well, I had a new blue tracksuit. Maybe that was it. I quite liked it, so that's why I wore it.
Mark, when you go back to Ewood Park now, does the fact that you've won a trophy with the club, does that sort of create a bond that will last forever with supporters? Or
I think they will always remember that. If you're part of a successful team, then yeah, absolutely, it's remembered. I actually got an invite to the dinner to celebrate that cup victory. I think it's in October. I think it got cancelled. It was supposed to be earlier in the year, so I'm not sure I can go, unfortunately. But it would have been nice to see the guys. I might still be able to do it, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there must be that empathy with teams that have done well for your club, because obviously being able to sell a dinner on the back of a team from 20 odd years ago shows that people still view your commitments and your contribution fondly. So that's always nice.
And is it the same within the team when you've been through something like that?
I think it is. I think when you win things together, that group, you don't have to be on the phone to them every other week or every year. Lots of the guys I played with I haven't seen for many years, but I know that if we all came together, then very quickly you'd reminisce and be like old days. That's what football teams do, current ones and ones from the past. That's football people get together and start talking football.
We spoke to Romney before. What are you making of his development so far this season?
Rom's been great. We've been really pleased with how he's been able to come into the group, and I think everybody can see the talent that he has. And I think we did really well to get Rom. I think his club and probably Rom himself probably felt he was ready to play at a high level, because obviously he'd had a great period at Swindon and done really well. So I just think the attraction of coming here and the fan base and the platform that we can offer players, I think that was what thankfully allowed him or tipped the decision in our favour. I don't think he would have come to League Two for anybody else, and I'm glad he's here. He's playing exceptionally well. Big part of why we look an accomplished team in terms of our possession and playing out from the back.
And one thing he said to us since he's came, he's found it a lot of fun. Is that important? You know, I
think the guys are enjoying the time together. A lot of them have all come at the same time, and you see a lot of different relationships forming very, very quickly, and that's been good. And the guys that have been here a long time are good guys anyway, so they all want success, and we all want the same thing. So when you're all pulling in the same direction, then that's always going to be fun if you can win games as well. That just emphasises the fun that you're having.
Of course. And just on Andy Cook, he's obviously in a great vein of form at the moment. When a striker's in that vein of form, do you ever sort of think about resting them, or do you just want to just keep them going while they're in that groove?
You probably just want to keep them going. I think that's important for them. They scoring goals. For some guys, I know myself. I think I've told you before that I was a bit streaky as a goal scorer. I never scored huge amounts of goals, but a decent amount. But when I did score, invariably they'd become sequences of games, and I maybe score 4 or 5 in 6 games or something, and I have games where I didn't score. But I think the important thing is that if you don't score, you contribute, and that's what Andy always does. He always has that impact, always gives everything that he's got, and at the moment he's in a confident mood. I think last year he got really down on himself, which he needn't had. He was just conscious that he hadn't scored goals, and all strikers get judged by goals, everybody knows that. So he got a little bit down on himself, and I think that towards the end of the season probably affected his form a little bit. But he's in rich vein of form at the moment, very confident, and when Andy's confident, he plays better.
I mean, in your experience, obviously managers always talk about the overall contribution, and that makes perfect sense, and it's obviously right. But when you actually are a striker, can you always look at it that way when you're in the sort of run that?
Well, every individual's different. You know yourself if you're playing well.
Yeah.
Sometimes the goals don't come and you don't get what you deserve, both as an individual player and as a team. So you have to accept that. That's sport, that's football. But if you're playing well, you always sense that well, if I continue in this at this level, then the goals are going to come anyway. So it's about just maintaining your confidence, maintaining your form. If you can do that, then don't ever worry about, if you're a striker, you should never worry about never scoring again, because that's never going to happen.
Yeah. Excellent, thank you very much.
Okay.